Steve. How are you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Good. I honestly didn't expect this to actually happen, but here we are.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for getting to do this, Steve. I know we were going back and forth on trying to get this set up, but
Yeah, no, time is very elusive for me. Yeah, unfortunately busier than I always want to be, but yeah, we
yeah.
can make time for this.
Well, I guess you've been like, I don't know, like family wise, or is it just in general life or band stuff or
Everything. Yeah,
yeah,
everything. Yeah, there's a lot of band stuff, a lot of life stuff. So
just
yeah,
everything. Yeah.
that's how it goes.
So for people might be tuning into this, tell them what your band is, I guess, Steve, and what kind of music that you make.
Yeah, so I'm in a band called Wolves of the Gate, and yeah, what kind of music it is? Well, it's heavier, it's melodic. Some people might refer to it as post-hardcore, some people might call it metalcore, some people might call it metal, some people might call it rock, but I think it also depends on what album or what song you're listening to. So we have songs that sound like indie rock and we have songs that sound like metal. So um
What would you
take
say?
that.
What would you
Yeah.
say for yourself, Steve? For the band genre, you would say for yourself.
I guess I mean I wouldn't pick any of the genre names. I just say we
Mhm.
make like heavy melodic music. That's what
Okay.
I would say. Yeah.
Even though most musicians are like, yeah, I just make music now. That's all it is
Yeah.
at this point. Because genres are like, I think pointless now, right? You think?
Yeah, I think they're helpful to like, to like because it's a word and it's helpful and it describes things, but at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day, it is a bit reductive, you know, for people to say like, oh, they're just a metalcore band or they're just a post-hardcore band or just the whatever. Just because, yeah, those genres, that's the roots of where a lot of these sounds have come from. But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, metalcore is like eye of the beholder. You could say metalcore and somebody thinks that's like Kill Switch Engage, and you can say
Yeah.
metalcore and somebody thinks it's like Architects, or Polaris or something. It's like it depends on what era or somebody might think Poison the Well, like
Jeez. Yeah.
so you have like this like wide array of what people may call metalcore or whatever. So I
Yeah.
don't know what any of it means.
Great bands though too. You
Yeah.
guys are I honestly think you guys are bunched in like a great genre because there's so many bands like in your scope that are so very much similar to you guys that I'm just like, yeah, you guys are in a great realm of area for
Yeah.
music.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of cool music that has come
Mhm.
from all of those like genre roots. So yeah, it's cool to be a part of that in a small way.
Yeah, cool. We have a lot to talk about because I know when I posted the photos, you guys were at Price Fest last year, and
Hmm.
which happy to got to see you guys first time. I didn't think I was ever gonna see you guys live, ever. Honestly, Steve, I'm like, this is a band that I've been following for like I think since the Eclipse album, and I'm
Oh,
like,
cool.
wow, I didn't expect to see you guys live, and you guys are great live, of course.
Thanks.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so you dropped a new record since then,
Hmm.
and I know you wanted to talk about that. So why the name Wasteland?
Well, Wasteland, i- the idea came from the fact that I wanted to write a story. And Wasteland is it's a place in this story. Um, and so I was trying to find a way to describe sort of the worlds that this character is going to traverse. And this is like the first world that the character sort of is born into and journeys through, which is the Wasteland.
Cool, cool,
Yeah.
neat. How did you
Yeah.
figure out that like theme for it? Were you like
Yeah,
tipping
I don't
toes
know.
for this for years? I don't know.
Um, I mean, I started working on the concept right around when Eulogies came out.
Hmm.
I started working on the concept just because I got just a little bit of a nugget of an idea. Um, you know, and I don't know. I think I just, for me personally, Wasteland just feels like a great way to express how, for me, it feels to live in a world that is full of lies and mirages and counterfeits and it's like it likes to show itself to be fulfilling and um valuable, but it's actually shallow and empty. And so it's actually a wasteland. So that's kind of where like the idea birthed from.
Dang. Like, you went dark there. Went like in a dark theme there, Steve.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not to say there's like nothing good in the world, but I do
Mhm.
think that um, I think that the world by and large, I mean, everybody as soon as they are born experience this thing called entropy, right?
Right.
We're all dying, even though like children are growing and like you're young and you have youth, youth fades away, like all of it fades away. And there's so many things, especially in our culture, that people try to say is like fulfilling and the purpose of life. And they're all just sort of like, it's like you're the Bible calls it chasing after the wind, right?
Mhm.
It's something you're never going to catch and something you're never going to be you'll never be satisfied in. And so in that, people waste their whole lives trying to find fulfillment in things that were never designed to fulfill you, and therefore it makes it a wasteland.
That's cool. That's cool.
Mhm.
Okay. Someone asked me, then you would describe this record as a Christian post-modern with apocalyptic themes, you'd say? Or no?
There again with like the titles,
Yeah.
I guess I would just call it a story that I wrote, and um, it's a story that I wrote that has, yeah, I mean, I would say the goal for me in writing the story was to drive any type of person, whatever sort of background they're coming from. Like everybody's struggles are very different. There's people that may struggle um, on one end of the spectrum with like substances or vices or things that like really destroy their lives in a visible way. But there's also people that struggle with things within their character and in their person that destroys them in invisible ways. Um, and so I wanted to write an album that would help both people from both of those sorts of worlds see the futility of it and to see that there's actually still hope, and that what God offers in the gospel is free for all. Doesn't matter whether you grew up in the church and you've realized that you're self-righteous hypocrite, or you grew up outside of the church and you've ignored God your whole life. The gospel is for everybody. Needs the grace that God offers in Christ. And so this album was an attempt for me to tell a story of a character who kind of actually experiences both of those experiences in trying to find salvation.
Dang. You went deep with this record. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Cool. Do you have like do you struggle to be like still like talking about
Mhm.
Christian themes and everything with writing so much albums throughout the years, so much stuff in this world now. It's just like, should I go in this route? Should I not? Nowadays for music?
Um, are you meaning because like it's like not widely accepted? Is that what you mean?
I guess in a sense. I guess because it's not like there's different themes, different religions,
Things to
different
talk
stuff now
about.
to talk
Yeah.
about now, right? So do you have trouble like doing that now, or are you like, no,
No,
don't worry about this?
yeah, I guess I don't think about it in the sense of like um what I believe is
Hmm.
true,
Yeah.
and that's truth, and that it actually brings hope, and that it actually is effective, whether or not I see tangible results of it, or whether or not I get maybe like an instant gratification of somebody going like, yeah, we agree with you, or yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. A lot of times there's people that don't like that that's what we're about, or they'll make fun of
Hmm.
us or mock us. But I'm not really bothered by that because I know it's true.
Yeah.
And there are I've mocked things before that I thought weren't true, and I found out that I was wrong, and I don't mock it anymore because I realize I see the beauty in it because God's opened my eyes to it. And so I'm not offended by that because I know that it's not me that they're rejecting. They're rejecting this truth, and they're just rejecting a truth that they don't understand. And not because I'm smart, but because they maybe just don't have eyes to see it, or they're resisting it. And so it's also just who I am. I'm not the same person I was when I was born and when I was growing up. Like, I've been changed, and I'm compelled by this truth. And it's like what I live every day. It's what I think about every day. And to me, I think it's massively important. I think there's important things you could talk about. You could talk about politics, like there's importance to that. You could talk about social issues. There's importance to that. There's lots of things that are important and valuable. And I can touch on those things every, here and there, but I feel a deep burden to touch on like spiritual and eternal things for myself, because I feel like that's the most pressing and most important.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Does the band help you out a lot with the records and with writing and everything? Of course, I'm
Yeah, I
assuming.
mean, we try to collaborate as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the ideas and the beginnings of songs are, like my brainchilds, children, brain children. I've never said the phrase that way, but as soon as I get ideas, I send it out to the guys because I want their feedback. And even the concept of this album, I've been we've just been discussing it and talking about it progressively. And so their input's super valuable, and
Mm-hmm.
also just what we want the band to be about. This isn't like my show, it's a collective effort.
Yeah, exactly. How long was the process for making this record, Steve, compared to other ones?
Yeah, I really started working on writing in 2022. And we ended up wrapping up everything in 2024, in the fall. Um, it took a little bit longer for me creatively than other projects, just because of the um, what we're trying to accomplish. But I feel really like gratified by the work and effort that everybody put into it, because I'm really happy with the end product and where things are going. So
I feel like it played itself part, and it's great because you took that time, took that effort, and it
mhm.
sounds great. It sounds amazing. I
Yeah,
feel like
thanks.
it's as great as Eclipse was. Like, yeah, like
That's awesome. Thank
yeah.
you.
Do you have a favorite record? I know interview people. I know people and artists
hmm
hate getting that question, but I'm like, do you have a specific record throughout the years that you're like, this I touched on this. This is the perfect record of all the themes that I wanted out of this.
Hmm. I mean, I do feel like I always can see the flaws and things that I wish I would have done better on every album. It's always the one that's most recent is the one that I'm most proud of.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like with Wasteland, I did feel as though I accomplished more of what I set out to do. Like, I felt like I actually realized the ideas in my head a little bit better. Like, if there was a percentage, like when you're picturing what you want something to be, as an artist, and you're just kind of chasing after that, and a lot of times it could feel like I don't know if I'm actually getting there. I feel like this was a higher percentage of success of achieving what I was going for than maybe other times. Um, but that doesn't mean the other albums weren't a success in my mind. I think it was
Right.
just more so like I felt like I captured more of what was in my brain,
That's good.
which is like that's the challenge, is like getting these things that are in your imagination to come into reality and not sound like space garbage.
Do you have anything that you're like, this is very much space garbage, Steve?
Oh yeah, it's on my computer and it's never been released. I've got I've got albums full of space garbage that I could put out, but I won't because it's it's
Space
trash.
garbage. You should just one day be like an alias name and be like, okay, let me just drop this into the world and see if anyone sees this one day.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make a side project called Space Garbage.
Yeah, it
It's
does.
actually
Yeah.
not a bad idea. I might
Honestly,
do that.
do it.
Yeah.
Why not?
I feel
So
like
many
space
art.
garbage is a it's got a good ring to it.
It does.
Or
Go
space
different
trash.
things.
Yeah.
What was the easiest and hardest song to write on the new record,
Hmm.
if you can remember? It's been a while.
The oh man. I think the easiest to write was actually Smoke. Smoke was the easiest because I felt like it just kind of like came out as I'm like remembering it. Um, the hardest, that's difficult because like there were big challenges I remember having with the first two. The first two tracks are like separated. They're an intro and pain, but they're really just one track at the end of the day. Um, that was really challenging because of what I knew I wanted it to be. Unrest was really challenging. So like the opener and closer, they were challenging in their own ways because of what I knew I wanted them to be and sort of how they wanted them to feel. Memento Mori was a song that went through a lot of changes and eventually came into something that I just completely loved. But the same thing with Death Clock. So it's really hard to say. I think the song that went through the most changes was Death Clock.
Really?
Um, yeah,
Ooh.
like the chorus of that song was originally just the bridge of a completely different song. Um, and all the guys kept kind of saying, like, every time we get to the bridge, like, I love the bridge. The other parts are
Mhm.
cool, but like the bridge just really stands out. Like, I feel like I'm just waiting for that to happen.
Hmm.
And Abishai, he just said, like, I just feel like that should just be a whole other song. And so I was like, all right, well, let me just try that. And so I just scrapped everything else and thought, okay, how do I like make a song all around this idea? And so it went through a lot of work in that sense, but yeah, there's a lot of versions I had to work through to eventually get to where I got.
What's funny enough that that's my favorite song on the record. So it's like, dang,
Yeah,
it went through so many. How much demos could you remember that one had specifically?
it's probably so the version before it was even changed, I think there was 3 or 4 versions of that song, and then there were like 5 or 6 of like the new Death Clock. So
Dang.
and and yeah, when I say versions, it just basically means like when I thought the song was done and I exported it and was listening to it, um, not including all the things that I like changed,
Mhm.
in real time many different times. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean that's the way sometimes songs just go that way because you just feel like it's not doing what you picture it,
Yeah.
envisioning it doing.
Yeah. I get that. Are there any new themes or experiences you explored on this album that you haven't before in previous records that was great to touch on? I'm assuming you kind of explained that already. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's been different to sort of like look at the world like this Wasteland in particular kind of like takes a look at the world, and also I've tried to take a look at what goes on in our minds in a very like honest sort of way, um
Mm,
and maybe um say things in the songs that we've probably said to ourselves but have never said to anybody else. Kind of the wrestlings um and I honestly don't think most people even think about the things that they think about, um because a lot of times the really hard stuff you don't want to think about it, so you'll think about it and then you'll either get scared or have anxiety or get depressed and you're like, I don't want to think about this anymore, and you turn on the TV or like eat food to like make yourself feel like do something to make it
mm,
go away.
yeah.
And I was just trying to give a palette for like kind of just going like, no, this is stuff we all think about and this is all stuff that we face.
Mm,
What do we have to do something with it,
yeah.
and what are we going to do with this, how are you going to rectify these things that you're maybe encountering or struggling.
Mhm,
And that's where I'm really hoping that through the process of people listening to the album they can kind of see that there is
mhm,
hope, and we're trying to do it metaphorically and allegorically, in a way that we haven't done before. So so as to do what, C.S. Lewis says, he talks about communicating themes in his writings, and he calls it sneaking past the dragons, which is like there are things that you could say to people that they would just not listen to because it sounds religious, but he could tell it in a story and people would be transfixed and listen, and then not realize that they're actually just hearing the same truth, but it's just being packaged in a story and a narrative. And that's part of what I'm trying to do, because I've encountered really powerful truths through that medium, and it's been effective for me. So I'm hoping maybe that's a way to reach out to people.
Do you have a good mentor, Steve? I'm assuming.
Uh, no, I don't. I
You
don't have a
don't?
mentor.
What? How are
Just,
you getting all this knowledge and everything? And you're just like,
just
dang,
books.
books, man.
Just lots of old dead guys that wrote a lot of stuff, and um, yeah, I mean, I've always just been really interested with people that can make me think. I mean, I guess some of it started. I think some of it's just the way my mind works, but some of it did start for me. There was um there was a guy at my church. His name's Dan Fredericks, and he's just like he's a brilliant man. So smart, but such a he had such a different mind. And
Hmm.
I ended up actually having him as a science teacher and a history teacher in school,
Ooh.
because he was a school teacher. And I just loved how he like always played devil's advocate, like always made you prove what you're thinking, what you're believing, and why it's true. Challenged, was always just trying to challenge us in our minds and in our thought. And I always love people that did that for me, because um I don't know. I think some of it's just how I'm wired, and I like to know how things work. Some of that is, I think that is definitely like my personality. I like to know how things work, and I want to actually like really know what I'm saying I know. Because
Mm.
I had a crisis of faith when I was about 19 years old, because I was brought up in the church, and I realized I was sitting there talking with a guy who was Muslim. And we had all the same classes my freshman year of college, and we would
Mm.
just get breakfast together and like try and make sure we weren't, messing up our classes and doing all of our work and whatnot. And found
Mm.
out he was Muslim. He found out I was Christian, and we were talking. And I realized some of the things I was saying to him, I didn't even know where I was getting it from. And like I was like, yeah, it's in the Bible somewhere. And I just realized I didn't really know what I was saying I knew. So I didn't really know it. And that scared me. Um, because I felt like I was taking like a position of like having knowledge without having knowledge, which is to be a fool. And so I think that's where all that came from. And so
Oh,
whatever I know is just borrowed from somebody way smarter than me.
college hit you hard, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, in a number of different ways. Yeah, for sure.
Dang. Note to self: if you go to college, you might turn out like Steve, where it's just like, dang, it hit you hard.
Hopefully, people can escape some of the mistakes I made.
Okay, are you saying don't go to college or go to college here,
Oh
Steve?
no, I'm just saying in general. I mean, I'm not the biggest advocate for college
Mm.
myself. Yeah, just because I think a lot of people go because they say to go, and and also a lot of times people don't even know like what they're good at, or like, do you need to go to college for what you're proficient at? You know, like I've known people that went to college for like music production, and I learned everything I need to know about music production from the internet. And you don't have to spend a ton of money. So yeah, that's a whole other thing. I won't get
Yeah.
into that. But
No, that's fine.
you go to college if you want to be a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer. Like you've got to do that.
Yeah.
And there's value in that for a lot of different things, but not for
Mhm.
everybody.
Yeah. Unless at some point it's gonna be, oh, we're gonna find out how to be a nurse or be a practitioner on YouTube now, a
Yeah,
tutorial
on AI.
now.
Yeah, there's going to be a Chat GPT course.
Do you use AI in your album making, music making, or is it just like, no, you don't want to go by that or anything like that.
No, I use AI a lot for research. I use AI a lot for so like a lot of times when I write things, I write just stream of consciousness and ends up becoming like it's like a big mess that I have to reorganize.
Hmm.
And so I'll use AI for things like I know how I need to reorganize it and I just don't want to spend the time to do it. And I found out that I could use that tool to do that and it saves me a ton of time. So I use it for that. I use it a lot for research. But the thing is you have to have some knowledge base of whatever you're trying to research with ChatGPT because it's wrong a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it's pulling from what it thinks is like going to provide the answer you're looking for. And if you have no knowledge base, you're just going to take it at face value, and it could be pulling from something that's inaccurate because the internet is a big and wild place. So you got to watch out.
Yeah, it's an interesting program, that's for sure. When it comes to having writer's block or lack of inspiration, how do you find that spark of creativity again? Do you have any of that for writing for this
Oh,
record? Did you have?
oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, what's always helpful for me is I'm always trying to think about like what's like the next piece of gear that's like that gets me excited about like tinkering with. Um, you know, I usually for the most part it's been like almost every album I'll get a different guitar. And it doesn't mean that I'll keep it, but at least get something different. I'll get a guitar because there's like just an excitement about playing something new and different and a different feel and the fretboard and the way everything feels and sounds. Um, I also like to get a lot of different um, plugins for recording and virtual instruments, just because it's just a whole new world to explore. And so that's what I almost 9 times out of 10 do if I'm definitely feeling like writer's block. Um, or I'll just whatever I'm doing, I just try to end up just doing the opposite. Or the other thing I do is just keep writing, even though it
Oh,
feels like
really?
you're doing nothing. Just keep trying. Um, like you just have to keep getting back on the horse, because the worst thing you can do is then get in your head and think like, oh, I'm no good. And honestly, one of the things I do is I just pray and I ask God to help me, because all the creativity I have and any gift that I do have is exactly that. It's a gift. And it doesn't mean like that happens right away. It's not like some magical thing
Yeah.
happens, but in time it does. And gives me like gratitude and recognizing, God's help for me in
Mm,
creating. So
cool. I guess you do it all in your studio, or do you go out to an actual studio to do it for the albums and everything?
for the most part, all the final tracks are recorded, for my end of things, it recorded here. We did things differently. We worked with Josh Gilbert, who plays bass in Spirit Box. He's done a lot of producing over the years, and Joseph McQueen, who is also they work together at the same studio, and Joseph mixed the album. And so I've done like a few sessions with them, basically where I bring songs that I've written to them. And one of the things that Joseph told me he wanted to do when I was out there, he's like, I really want to record your vocals. I'm like, all right, that would be great, because that would save me a ton of time of recording and punishing myself, you know, tracking my vocals. And I always just end up singing way more than I probably need to, because it's my own voice, because I'm just way critical of like it is helpful to have somebody else go like, no, this is good, like
Yeah, I
let's
was
move
gonna
on.
say it's good to have someone there with you and be like, yeah, this is a good take. Oh, maybe slightly change this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so like the vocals for Smoke and Synthetic Sun, they were and Parasite were recorded at their studio, because those are songs I worked on with them, and we did like production stuff together too. Like the song was written, Parasite really was the song that like was probably the most incomplete out of all of them. We didn't have a bridge and we didn't have a way to end the song. Um, and so we worked all that out together while we were there. So that was a new experience for me, and it was really fun. They're super talented, way easy to work with, and just good guys. We have a good
Yeah.
time. We have to remember to, like, work at times too.
Is
Josh and
that
I will just get caught up in philosophical conversations about religion and politics and culture and stuff like that, and it's good. It's I enjoy that aspect of things, and I enjoy people challenging me in what I believe too.
that's good.
So, and I mean, he's not combative or anything. It's just it's a good conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna say you probably had some fun times, had some good
Mhm.
laughs during the studio sessions, you
Yeah,
know.
definitely had some good laughs. Yeah, yeah,
So
a
it was good
decent
working
amount.
with him.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Decent amount of the laughs at my expense, but that's if you can't laugh at yourself, then you're not having fun.
exactly. It's a fun time always.
Mhm.
What track on the record feels most personal to you, and why?
That's tough.
Hmm. Because the whole record's probably personal, right?
Yeah, I mean, most personal. It's like really just depends on
How you go about it.
how I'm
Yeah.
feeling at the moment or what I'm thinking about.
Hmm.
There were just two things that like stood out immediately, which is Memento Mori and Unrest, and I was kind of like flipping between the two of them. So I just love the chorus lyrics of Memento Mori, but I also love the lyrics of Unrest, especially just it's the part right before the breakdown where the in the bridge where the character is just like really struggling to believe um that essentially I'll take us outside the story, but just that God could be good to him even though he's just lived like hell basically. And he just ends the line, all the music cuts out and he just says help. And that felt like the most real and honest to me because like when I've felt like that desperation and the need for God to help me, I'm never like at a mountaintop screaming help like this like cinematic picture. Like you're just kind of like quietly and broke in a broken way, just kind of going like help, you know? And I felt like that really like strikes a chord with me. And also just the lyric, how can I live like hell and expect heaven to come save me? That to me is just sort of the beauty of the gospel is that you you can be as broken as you are and call on God to save you, and that's his desire is to save. That's his, Jesus's name literally means God saves, and so that's so we'll say unrest for today.
For today.
Yeah,
It'll change tomorrow, but yeah, I like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
What was the most impactful part of the production process for this record?
Probably probably working with Josh and Joseph,
Hmm.
to be honest, just because we've self-produced a lot, like the last 3 or 4 releases we've done, and, um, such a big impact to have, you know, people fighting for you and working with you, um, and also, like, encouraging you too. They were really encouraging to us 'cause, there's definitely s I definitely often get the sense of feeling like we're a bit of, like, black sheep in, amongst our contemporaries because 'cause we're Christian, and I sometimes just being bluntly honest, like, I wonder, you know, is, like is are people not liking our music because they don't like our music or because they don't like that we're Christian? And, I don't take offense to it, but it definitely, like, creates some, like, doubt, in my own mind, that isn't really important because I really I don't wanna do this for, like, self-adulation or to be praised or to be loved, but there is that part of you that does want to be accepted, but, like, that's not what's most important at the end of the day, and but to have, like, people you're working with going like, "This is really cool," and that they like this, is encouraging for me, Um, and I think that they sincerely, mean that. It's not like I need somebody to just like say that our songs are good to make me
Yeah.
feel good. Like I want to put out good music, otherwise I don't want to put it out. Because that's not for me. It doesn't feel right. Like,
Right.
and I would want somebody to tell me if they're just like, hey, listen, this is just space trash. And so,
Space garbage. Let's
like, yeah,
go.
it's like, hey, like don't release this because this is cheesy or whatever. So
No,
yeah, it's cool.
that's good that you have people around you be like, yo, this is good. Like, yes,
Mhm,
there's not that much Christian, I feel like Christian metalcore, Christian post-hardcore stuff nowadays, right? Like, there was
mhm.
bunch in the 2000s and
Yeah.
90s, right? And now it's just like this weird market and weird industry where it's like, where'd those people go, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
there's
I
you
think
guys.
yeah. I mean, I think a lot of those people went a lot of those people realized that they might have bought into something that they actually didn't really believe in, which probably a lot of the artists you've seen come out and just kind of say that, which I don't understand why people get mad at them. Like the Christian community will get mad at those people. If anything, you should just be sad because they're not sure what they believe, and so you should
Mhm.
have compassion and empathy towards them, not anger. And so yeah, I just think it's just the way the culture shifts, and it's not really a big deal to me because again, like I said before, at the end of the day, like it is who I am. I'm not going to change that. To me, that's like one, it's the antithesis of like being an artist is being disingenuous to not be true to who you are. But then also, I would just be exactly what every person probably who hates Christianity or religion, I would be seen as a hypocrite for not like not being true to what I actually believe. And so, um, yeah, so that's where I land with all that.
Cool. Um, I guess you're gonna be working with those guys maybe in the future for production stuff, or is there any
Yeah.
producer you like to work with in the future that you're like eyeing up? I want to work with them, maybe.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of talented producers out there that
Mm-hmm.
I would love to work with, but for sure, what we see in our foreseeable future is working with Josh and Joseph,
Yeah.
continue to work with them on music.
Cool. So for making this record, were there any influences of artists, bands that are like I taking it all in to go
hmm
in like making this project in a sense? Like you were listening to them and like, yeah, this is kind of like a theme I want to go into as well too.
there was probably not an artist in particular. There's just so many different artists that influence so many different components of making a song or making even just one song can have
Mm-hmm.
numerous influences and let alone a whole album, but there's there were elements, you know like there's a band that was they're not around anymore, but they were called Inner Party System, and it was like heavily electronic, but it was heavy. It was just like the strangest, maybe not heavy in the way that other people might label it, but it was heavy to me. Like the synths were just crunchy and saturated and big, and like there was groove to it, and it was very melodic but still dark. um and that's music that I loved for yeah, years now. I mean, well, easily over 10 years. And just trying to pull from some of those influences to really kind of build a different kind of world than what we normally do with our music, because we're trying to tell a story and it's supposed to be set in like a dystopian future, and so
Yeah.
we wanted the music to sort of feel that same sort of way.
Cool. Is there any artists, particular or bands that you've been listening to lately, Steve?
No.
No.
Well, when you say in particular, that's why I say no. I mean, there's like a large playlist that I'll press shuffle on when I go to work out. But like I haven't. It's probably been 4 months since I like put on an album front to back.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah, just because I haven't been as interested or excited about or have had time. part of it is just time, to be able to sit down. I don't want to put on an album that I want to hear as background music. I
Mm-hmm.
can't do that. That's not me. Like I want to hear it. Like if I'm like mowing the lawn, like I'll do that, because I don't really need a lot of my brain to do that. But I want set aside time to like hear the album front to back, and I don't. That's harder to do. But I guess if I can look at every time I'm asked this question, I end up having to open up my Spotify.
Even the shuffle
Um,
playlist is fine. I'm fine with
well, the
that.
shuffle wouldn't be helpful because it's just literally just a smattering of things. I can't even remember like what I'm actually listening to. But like there is an artist named McGee who I really have enjoyed listening to. Really like kind of like, I guess, is it like post rock music? I don't even know what to call it, or indie rock, but it's really interesting and very cool. A very different approach to just rockish type music in general.
Hmm,
Um, I heard this band. They've been around for a bit. They're kind of like a post-hardcore throwback, called Static Dress.
oh, Static
It's
is great.
Yeah, it's really interesting listening to their music because it just literally feels nostalgic, and I feel like I've heard all of their songs before, even though I haven't, because they just remind me of the music that I grew up on.
Hmm,
Um, yeah, so that I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, like that's like the most recent stuff that I've listened to, like album wise. So
cool. Okay.
yeah,
Will we see some more new music soon? Maybe from you guys,
yeah.
or even like acoustic stuff? Maybe from this record. Who knows?
We probably won't do any like, yeah, stripped down stuff right away, because we're working on, yeah, lots of new music.
Mm.
So yes, a lot of new music incoming for sure.
You would think this year, or would you say no?
Not I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm not in
Okay.
charge of those sorts of things.
Yeah.
The songs are there. There's no question. That
That's
when
yeah.
they get released is
That's
above my
back
pay
end
grade.
stuff. That's nothing to do with you
Yeah.
now at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's above my pay grade. That's record label people who
Yeah.
understand marketing and understand things that I am just not good at. So
Yeah. Do you like working at like being on a record label with your band, or is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
I like the people we work with, and they help facilitate things that honestly if I had the time, I would do it, but I don't, and they're good
Mm,
at it. And so
that's
I'd
good.
rather I s- I work really hard on making these songs, and I want people to hear them, and
Hmm.
they're a way to help that happen. And sure, yeah, like they have to get paid,
Yeah.
and obviously I know that the way that the music industry is, and that can be a whole other conversation, but like to me, I'm not doing this to be rich. So
Yeah.
just trying to get the music out there. That's where really, and
Hmm.
so they provide us the opportunity to do that.
You want your story told, and that's basically how it's been told.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
they're had the same A&R since we got signed, so I can't
That's
complain.
cool.
He's a good guy. Yeah,
That's great because you
yeah.
don't see that a lot of days from artists and everything because other
No,
people,
no,
it's
it's
all
not. That's
acoustic shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not the norm. Not the
Yeah.
norm.
Cool. I know you guys will be touring with the Dangerous Summer. I think I'm saying that right.
Hmm.
Dangerous Summer in November. Are you excited about that, or any other touring plans that you guys have planned?
Yeah, that's yeah, it's Emery's 20-year anniversary for
Hmm.
their album The Question.
Yeah.
So we were stoked that they invited us to come out and do a short run with them. And yeah, we're working on plans, to get out there more. That's about all I can say, but we'll be out in the Northeast with Emery, the Dangerous Summer. If you're out there, come check us out.
Cool. 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 How do you spend your time? Spend your personal time with God, Steve? That's what a question person asked on
How?
Instagram.
Um, well, the ways that you can, um,
Mm-hmm.
either through reading the Bible. I like to
Mm-hmm.
study the Bible. I like to know and understand what's in there, and how it all, you know, the Bible, there's lots of books in the Bible, but the Bible is telling one story. And I'm always so interested in how, from Genesis to Revelation, whatever I'm reading, how does that fit into this one story that God's telling, which is about this great Savior that He sends in Christ. And so, like, that is just so fascinating to me and so incredible. And yeah, it's literally like it's life to me when I read it and understand that. And I just see, really what I just see is God's love. So that, I mean, yeah, it's a bit of an odd question for me because, like, I don't have any, there's no like secret tricks. It's like, yeah, it's reading God's word and praying and wanting to have a relationship with God, much akin to like David, in the sense that he just knew that God was good and that God was for him, and that he never questioned that. And so, trying to live in that way, um, yeah, and spend time with other believers, just really just the things that God has given to us, which are called means of grace. They're ways in which He extends grace to His people, which is, yeah, fellowshipping with other believers and reading the Word and praying. And yeah, no secret sauce here.
Cool. And also listening
Yeah.
to your band because they're Christian.
Yeah, and also, yeah, I guess you can listen to songs that remind you of the truth and also
Mm,
challenge the way you think or convict you. I
yeah.
think that would be good.
Yeah. What's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten for doing music, Steve?
To be honest, I haven't gotten a lot of advice.
Really?
No. I can tell you some of the advice I've gotten over the years, and it's hilarious.
Okay.
Uh, write more breakdowns. Um, some of the advice I've gotten, which is don't preach the gospel at your shows. Some of the advice I've gotten is we haven't got a lot of good advice,
Oh,
make friends with famous artists on social media so they'll take you out on tour. These are the types of pieces of advice that I've received over the years. Um, yeah.
yeah. I don't know if people know how to give advice, I guess, then to
The
you, to
only the
Steve.
the only one real piece of advice that I think I've gotten that felt like real advice and was valuable, was from the singer of Unearth, who said, he's like, "Be nice to everybody on your way up because you're gonna see them on your way down."
Mm,
And I thought that was good advice and good wisdom. And we didn't really ever get up too high, so there wasn't really that much way to go down anyway. So we've just kind of just stayed somewhere in I don't know what region,
oh,
but whatever region we're in. But I thought that was good advice. But apart from that, I have not gotten a lot of great advice.
hey,
So unfortunately,
ba-
I don't have any to share.
hey, bands artists, start giving Steve some good advice, please. And then
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
you do
One
you
man's
know?
good advice is another man's bad advice, so we'll
Do
see.
you not want advice from people, Steve, or you're just
Oh,
like,
no, no,
no,
I would
no,
I would
okay.
love it. I'm always willing to listen to anything that, if
Hmm.
anybody's trying to give me advice, I know that they're trying to do something good, so I appreciate it.
Cool.
Yeah.
If you could have your listeners and fans remember one thing about yourself, what would you want them to remember you by?
It's interesting, before we got on this podcast, I just prayed that um I wouldn't make the conversation about me and want myself to be seen or praised and loved. And so um
I'm sorry.
I guess no, 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 you don't, it's
Okay.
not, you don't have to apologize. It's more so, I guess if I want to be remembered for anything, is just,
Hmm.
you know, as a broken man who's received a great grace from a great savior. That's, if
Hmm.
I could be remembered that way, as I love, my friend Anthony words it this way. He says, as a monument of God's grace. That's how I'd want to be remembered, because
Hmm.
in that I feel like I'd be seen the way that I should be seen, as, you know, um, somebody who's been who graciously has received, a wonderful gift, and it shows how great the giver is. Um, and so I guess that would be awesome
Yeah,
for me.
cool. Do you feel like you made an impact at some point to someone for music, Steve?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've had a lot of people share just how our songs have impacted them, and I'm really grateful for that. And there's lots of stories and lots of conversations, and many of which I probably don't even remember.
Mm,
Um, but I'm just really grateful for how God has used our music in people's lives, and because at the end of the day, I do believe that it's a supernatural thing that God does,
mhm,
not because of anything that because I constructed the chord progression properly or just had these like perfect words, because to some people have been like, oh, you don't see anything in the lyrics, and to other people, it's like been like life changing, and so yeah, I'm
hmm.
grateful for that.
Also forgot to ask you, how is fans like liking the record and everything? Have they been like, yo, this is a great record? Like, have you
Yeah, a
heard
lot of
stuff from
people have
people?
said that. Yeah, a lot of people have like, we've been a band for a long time, and we've had a lot of people say like, okay, I actually think this is my favorite album from you guys, which is so exciting for us as a band to have been a band as long as we have, and to hear that from our fans, because we're not trying to just make the same old stew that we've been making since 2008. We're trying to do something different and push ourselves. So that's exciting for us.
Cool. Okay. What's your goal really for music for you, Steve? Where do you want to go basically in the next 5 years with music, you would think?
Um, to me, I really just love the idea of knowing that we're making better art than we did before, and that we're offering something to people that's more than just a good listen on Spotify in a playlist, that we are offering people um, something more substantial, not for any like self-aggrandizing reasons,
Yeah.
but for the sake of other people and their hope and their joy. Um, so that's what I would hope, in the realm of success, any to me, any success we have just helps further that aim, and so I'll gratefully receive any of that, because that's what I would see as success, is just more ears listening to that end.
Cool. Um, if you could talk to yourself from a year from now, what would you like to tell yourself, Steve?
If I could talk to myself.
Yeah, from today, right now,
Yeah.
at this exact time, Steve. From a
What
year
would
from now.
I guess maybe I don't know why this is such an abstract thing to me.
I always
I
like
guess
doing
I
the
would just
abstract questions at the end for people
yeah.
always. It's fun.
I guess I would just say, like, listen to what you just said in this podcast and make sure nothing's changed. You know, there's a sense in which I don't want to change what is valuable to me, but I want to be changed. Um,
Mm,
I want to be less like, I want to be less like the broken parts of me and more like the beautiful parts that I see in Christ to other people. I want more of, yeah, honestly, Steve to die. And, as John the Baptist said, he must increase, I must decrease. There's a sense in which I want less of me to be seen and more of Christ. And so maybe that's what I would tell myself.
have you felt like you've been less broken now, Steve?
No, as I've gotten older, I realize um, I see more and more of my brokenness. And it's sometimes I can think back to different times in my life, especially being in the band, where I can just sort of see, just I know me better than anybody knows me, and I can see like bits of just like pride and um lacking in empathy or compassion, or so it's a process I don't expect. I pray that I see myself in a year and kind of go like, wow, like thank you, Lord, for continuing to work in me and not leaving me there, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Cool. Describe yourself with one word. Which would it be?
oh my goodness.
I'm getting you, Steve. I'm just
I
kidding
don't
at you.
the hair, I don't know. The older
That's
I
the
get,
best one. Oh my
the more hair grows like on my face, and it's just like all of the hair on my face is like trying to be reunited. That's what it feels like. That's my very non-serious answer to a very existential question.
goodness. So at the moment, it's hair, basically.
That's that just anything else I could think of, I just feel like would just sound so weird or goofy. Yeah. So
I like it. I got to see your goofy side a little bit. We love it. What do you have planned for the rest of 2025, Steve? Anything you want to let people know?
no, we just got that tour coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We all we have a number of things that we're working on that we're hoping to give to people. It will require no transaction of monies or anything. There's things that we want to just give to our fans as a thank you that hopefully will help them enjoy the project we're working on all the more. So
Cool. And check out Wasteland on all music platforms, basically.
that's right.
And
Yep.
buy vinyls and CDs from the place
Yes.
where you buy stuff. So you support these guys.
Yep.
Cool.